What's up, family? Welcome to Speak. Sports television literally made for today. It is crazy. NFL free agency frenzy. This is the biggest off-season day there will be. So glad you are here for it. Let's update you first and foremost on the most notable transactions. At the top of the screen, Kirk Cousins, no longer a Minnesota Viking. He's joining the Atlanta Falcons. Then you'll see a name, Christian Wilkins, former first-round pick, Miami Dolphins. He's gone. He's gone from the East, headed out west, joining the Raiders. As you move down the list, you'll see Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, playoff Gabe Davis, a sneaky huge addition for the Jacksonville Jags, and DeAndre Swift joining the current backfield of Justin Fields. But he might be the newest partner for Caleb Williams if the Bears choose to use that first-round pick on Caleb Williams. It is a huge NFL day, and it is a huge joy to be doing this show with these brilliant minds at the desk. First, I got to start with you, Dave Helman. Dave Helman, sitting in for Shady McCoy. Shady McCoy, noticeably absent. James Jones, is he dodging you? Y'all had a race today. There was a race that was supposed to occur, a 40-yard dash around the world. James, what happened?
You know what, man? I know how competitive my dog is, so I won't say he dodging me. You know what I mean? I would just say I'm sending my prayers out to him, man, hoping that he's feeling better. You know, he my dog, but just give my hammies a couple more days. You know what I'm saying? We do dial it up again. No, that's my dog, man. I hope he's good, man.
Joy Taylor, how are we feeling?
We're good. We're good. It's the off season. There's moves being made.
Huge moves being made, and there truly is no bigger move than the one that happened in Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley, a star-studded running back, no longer a New York Giant, just signed a 3-year deal worth up to $47.5 million with the Philadelphia Eagles, staying in the NFC East. He's leaving the Giants. He's joining the Eagles. The Eagles were in the Super Bowl just a year ago. I believe, James Jones, that the Eagles have the best skill position group in football, either Eagles or the Niners. I don't think it's particularly close. A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. That is an explosive and potent backfield. It doesn't get much bigger than that. This is a huge day, but did the Eagles need Saquon?
I don't think the Eagles needed Saquon, but I do think Jalen Hurts needed Saquon. We've seen the way Jalen Hurts looked last year playing football. He did not play the game of football at a high level. We've seen him take a lot of crazy shots down the field, and sometimes he got into the media and he say, I was just trying to give him a chance. I seen him down there. So Saquon Barkley allows you to be like, listen, this is what coverages we are getting, right? When he's out wide, you are going to know if it's zone or man. And he can really run these routes and catch the ball out of the backfield. So a lot of these plays, he was taking down the field, taking shot plays down the field. It's okay to dump that thing down to Saquon. But not only that, routes-wise, I'm not talking about checkdowns. I'm talking about put him out there like you see the Niners use Christian McCaffrey and let him run routes, but make it easy on Jalen Hurts. I think that's what this does. You already have two phenoms at the wide receiver spot. You put Saquon Barkley in there. This right here, I think, is a true security blanket for your quarterback to help make the game easier for him. Who knows how the defense is going to play? Saquon can't help you over there. But strictly Jalen Hurts, I think this helps him to be able to play the game at a higher level at the quarterback spot.
Well said. Joy, what do you think? Did the Eagles need Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, the Eagles needed all the help they could get. I mean, they had a nice stretch in the regular season last year, but I don't think the season ended the way that we expected it to, and certainly the way that they expected it to coming off of a Super Bowl run. I think I agree with James. It makes them more dynamic. It gives them a very powerful weapon that can make the offense more diverse, make things easier on Jalen Hurts, which we saw last year is something that needs to be a part of their offense. You want to make things always easier on your quarterback, but particularly a young quarterback and a quarterback that plays the way that Jalen Hurts plays. They need to have a dynamic run game that only elevates what Jalen Hurts is able to do with his legs. It makes things more difficult on the defense. So I like that they brought him in. Congrats getting your money as well.
Finally.
Well overdue. And I like that he stayed in the NFC East, so he can get a little get back for you as well.
Dave, this is interesting because when Shady was here just last week, obviously a luxury to do the show with him, he broke down the top 5 running backs that were free agents right now. I think he had DeAndre Swift at number 4, Saquon at number 3. Or he had Saquon at number 3 and Swift at number 2. Josh Jacobs was his number 1. With that being said, this is an all-time rushing leader giving his opinion, albeit it is just his opinion, but he's simply saying there wasn't that big a gap talent-wise between Swift and Saquon. I don't believe there's that big a gap talent-wise as either between Swift and Saquon, particularly when you consider the fact that Saquon isn't always all that healthy. You know the NFC East better than anybody on television covering the Dallas Cowboys since 2011.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, ballpark. Don't date me.
So break it down, Dave Helman. Did the Eagles need Saquon?
I think that's my thing. And I mean, the answer is no. I don't think they needed him. Clearly, a running back who's capable of 1,500 all-purpose yards is going to make you better. That's a lot of fun. He's a great player. I'm not trying to downplay Saquon Barkley. But when you talk about need, when you talk about where the Eagles are and what they've already had, I think it's so interesting the way that they have departed from their previous strategy. DeAndre Swift was acquired for a 4th-round pick and some change, 1,200-yard player. Miles Sanders was the guy before him, 2nd-round draft pick, rookie wage scale. Like, these are affordable players. And when you think about what the Eagles already have, you've paid Jalen Hurts, you've paid A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith's payday is coming. You want to keep him around, right? Yeah. Dallas Goedert's been paid. The offensive line has big pieces. They just made Landon Dickerson the highest paid guard in the league today, I believe. So think about all those pieces. Where you can skimp traditionally is running back. You could pay DeAndre Swift half as much as what Saquon Barkley's making. Or you could dive even further into free agency. James, it's an open wound, and I'm sorry, but Aaron Jones is available right now. You could find maybe lesser players, but less expensive players as well to fill that void. And I'm curious. I do think the Eagles needed something. I don't know if it was running back when you think of what a mess the back end of their defense was last year, how they haven't had fantastic linebacker play in God knows how long, like probably since Jeremiah Trotter. That's how long it's been since the Eagles balled out at linebacker. I would have liked to see that. I would have liked to see Howie Roseman address the safety position or the linebacker position. It's not to say Saquon's not good. He's going to pile up yards, I'm sure. Probably won't pile up touchdowns because he plays on the tush-push team, but he's going to be good. I wonder if the Eagles could have spent this money somewhere else.
Cowboys haven't had a good beat writer since since we're taking shots. Since we just taking shots. You know what I mean?
I don't know how
right next to me, man.
As soon as he said it, I was like, I know what this was.
Come on now. Come on now.
I can't say you, Dave. You don't pick up when I call, so.
I had to do it. I had to do it. I do think Joy Taylor's a copycat league. Because I agree with you, Dave. I don't think the Eagles needed Saquon at all. If I think about DeAndre Swift, he had 78 targets in the season. He had 62 catches, if I'm not mistaken. DeAndre Swift can do a lot of what Saquon can do. But when you look at the Niners and how they use Christian McCaffrey, safety blanket. I think the Eagles watched the Niners sneak through the playoffs. And I say sneak because it was ugly versus the Packers and it was ugly versus the Lions. But they saw what McCaffrey did and they said, you know what? Maybe we just need one of those. Or, Joy, it could have been how the Eagles did in 2014 when we acquired DeMarco Murray from the Dallas Cowboys. And it wasn't that we wanted DeMarco Murray. We just didn't want the Cowboys to have him.
How'd that go, though?
Exactly. It didn't go well. It didn't go well. Do you think that Saquon can help get the Eagles back to where they want to go, which is a Super Bowl 2 years ago? Not far off.
Look, I think Saquon's name is Saquon for a reason. Part of it was playing for the New York Football Giants. Playing in New York City has a lot of benefits, but it's also because we've seen the heights of what Saquon can be, particularly when he's healthy. There's a reason he is the superstar of the level that he is. There's a reason he was drafted to where he was. And the reason why we just call him Saquon. When you're a one-namer, you earned that, particularly in this league. So if you are the Eagles and you're looking at what talent is available, and we often have the talent versus production conversation, and a lot of times people tend to lean towards talent because where the talent is the potential. Right? The results can come from somebody that's not quite as talented, and then we talk about scheme and offensive coordinator and system and all of that. But when you bring up someone like Christian McCaffrey is really one of one. Talent, production, everything. He's one of one. But if you can get close to that, and you know the talent is there with Saquon, the talent is not the question with Saquon. It's the health, and it is the production, and a lot of the production has to do with the health. So if I'm going to risk something like this, if I'm going to pay for something like this, I'm paying for what I know, not what I imagine, what I know Saquon Barkley can do when he is available and when he is able to be consistent. And when he has the pieces around him that he does, the offensive line, when the offensive line is together, even if it's not what we think it or what it has been, it's still going to be better than what he's been playing behind. The potential is there.
I want to be clear. It's going to be very fun to watch. It's going to be electric. Just when you're budgeting these things, there's other things that the Eagles need to address.
But not only that, though, because I look at it this way. Swift probably can do what Saquon Barkley does.
No doubt.
Miles Sanders probably can do what Saquon Barkley does, number-wise. But getting off the bus right now when you play the Philadelphia Eagles offense, you better stop 26. And that's, to me, the difference between Swift and Sanders. When 26 is out there and emotions out the backfield and this young fella could run routes, if 26 is in the backfield, attention on 26. Like, we have to make sure we have a game plan to stop 26. That's the difference. We have to get off the bus and say, circle 26, we have to stop him when he's healthy on the football field. That's what the Eagles are banking on. So that's what he brings different than Swift in there. You might have to stop A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith when you got Miles Sanders or Swift in the backfield, right? We're not worried about them just coming down here, running downhill, consistently beating us. With Saquon back there, that's why I say this helps the quarterback, because he's a coverage dictator. That's why we brought up all them stats when he plays with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is that much better because of what he brings when you talk about somebody you're trying to stop and a coverage dictator. It helps your quarterback. That's what I think he brings different than these other running backs.
Raheem Morris, now the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. If I'm not mistaken, Raheem Morris was on staff with Kirk Cousins, correct me if I'm wrong, Washington, back in 2012 to 2014. Raheem Morris coached the Senior Bowl that me and Kirk Cousins were a part of. So Morris and Kirk Cousins go back more than a decade now. James Jones, the Falcons need help.
Yes, they do.
Desmond Ridder,
yes.
Marcus Mariota,
yes.
Taylor Heineke. Those are the quarterbacks they've rolled out there the last 2 years. Arthur Smith, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. That was his consistent record. But when I look at the Falcons, I see Bijan Robinson at running back, first-round pick.
Really good player.
I see Kyle Pitts at tight end, first-round pick. I see Drake London, freakazoid out of USC, incredibly talented wide receiver. On the defensive side of the football, I see A.J. Terrell. I see Jesse Bates. I see playmakers. Now you're adding Kirk Cousins, a dude who you can bank on passing for 4,000 yards every season. I think he makes the Atlanta Falcons at least the favorite to win their division. But was it the right move for Kirk? How you feel about it?
Well, once Russ went to the Steelers, he ain't really had too many moves. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, to go win a Super Bowl, right? Because what's left? The Commanders, the Falcons.
Stay in Minnesota.
They roster ain't really like that neither, so it's going to be hard for you to compete up over in there with Detroit and the Packers and all that getting better. So it's not too many teams that you're just going to walk in like Russell Wilson is that's ready to go compete for a title. So I think this is a really good fit for Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to play well. You could put that in the bank. In the regular season, Kirk Cousins is going to play well. That's what Kirk is going to do. Coming off this Achilles injury, when he is ready to play, he is going to play good football. So I like the move for the Falcons, but the move don't make them no contender to me. The move don't say, hey, man, this Atlanta Falcons team has an opportunity to win the Super Bowl now with Kirk Cousins.
Of course.
Number one, I remember what I see with my own two eyes when Kirk Cousins was 13-3, had the Minnesota Vikings rolling with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook when they were playing at a high level, and you lost to Daniel Jones and the Giants. So I'm not necessarily saying Kirk Cousins is going to make them contenders, but he's going to make them a better football team. But Kirk is about winning a Super Bowl, at least I believe, right? I mean, I know he started this guaranteed money type thing because he keep getting guaranteed. So he cool. But if you're trying to win a championship, I don't know if that's in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, in my opinion.
Congrats again, Kirk. You continue to play the game.
Money, absolutely.
Of getting money at the highest level.
Yeah.
I'm
I wish
impressed.
I knew him as a friend.
Write a book. Literally. I mean, right. He writes the book on how to get this guaranteed money.
My goodness.
I love it for him. For the Falcons, this is a move that shows me that they are interested in competing. I don't think it puts them in the Super Bowl conversation because, let's be honest, Kirk Cousins is not a postseason quarterback. He is a regular season quarterback. He is going to make you competitive during the regular season. He's going into year 13. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. I mean, it's an unserious conversation if we're talking about what he's capable of doing in the postseason up until this point. And as James has pointed out, he's played alongside some high-level talent. He has played at a high level, and it still ends up the exact same way. So while Atlanta has a lot of young pieces to get excited about, and I'm really excited about their new head coach, Raheem Morris, and I think they have something that they're building there, I can't just put them at the top of the NFC just because of this move, but I do like that they are making a move. What the Falcons tried to pitch us the past couple of years is, we got it. We got it figured out. True. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And where did that land them? This is a move that at least shows me that you're trying to compete. You're interested in winning the division. And I like Kirk as a player. I think that we get a little crazy about Kirk because he does put up some nice numbers and he has some moments. But when the lights get bright, that's not really his thing. That's not his thing.
You're not wrong.
It's not been his thing. So until he proves otherwise, that is not his thing.
Dave, here's my question. Kirk Cousins is 35 years old. Born in 1988, drafted to the Washington Commanders now in 2012. Played for a long time, coming off an Achilles tear. The Falcons have the number 8 pick in one of the most loaded quarterback classes ever. Not like since the turn of the century, not in the last 5 years. One of the most loaded quarterback classes ever. You choose to acquire a $150 million 35-year-old coming off an Achilles, Kirk Cousins, when you could have used that number 8 overall pick on a quarterback. You know the draft better than anybody on television. You study college football incredibly well, incredibly intently. Why Kirk Cousins? Why not use the number 8 overall pick on a cheap first-round QB?
It's a bad year to be asked. It's a bad week to be asking that question, don't you think?
Talk to me.
Mac Jones is the backup in Jacksonville now. Justin Fields is the most unwanted man in the NFL based on the Bears' inability to trade him. Trey Lance is the backup in Dallas. Am I forgetting anybody? Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is still with the Jags. And
Zach Wilson, they want out.
Zach Wilson has been unwanted in New York for multiple years, and Trevor Lawrence is good. He's the only guy still with his team. I think most people would agree he's underperformed relative to how much hype there was.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, sure, you can go draft him. Granted, Minnesota's definitely got to trade up to get that guy. So you're not just using, Atlanta. Atlanta's got, you still have to trade up from 8. Probably in the top 3 to get somebody. So you're mortgaging multiple resources, not just that pick. And you don't know if the guy's going to work. Kirk Cousins is going to work. I'm going to do him the favor of, I think the Achilles will be fine. You know, I think he'll recover from that fine. And
He ain't running nowhere anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And James is 100% right. You can set your watch to Kirk Cousins performing in the regular season. And Joy, I hear you, but I feel like you're trying to have a January conversation in March right now. And that's fine. Look, I get it.
I'm having a 12 January conversation. 12 Januaries we've watched.
Okay, that's fine. But again, there's levels to this thing, right? And what this tells me, you're right, the Falcons are ready to compete. The Falcons are tired of being irrelevant, which is what you are when you don't have one of these guys.
Right.
We're talking about them in the first block of this show right now.
That's a good point.
That is the difference, and that's what it costs. This is the going rate. You want to be relevant enough for us to talk about you as a team worth taking seriously, it's got to be a top 5 draft pick or $180 million. Ooh. That's what it takes, and that's what Kirk Cousins is worth, because now, do I think the Falcons are a real deal Super Bowl contender? Not really. But I think they're good enough to win their division.
Yeah.
I think they're good enough to be in that tournament, maybe even win a game. They did it without using that number 8 overall draft pick. So they can spend that on a badass, whether it's another receiver, whether it's a defensive end or a cornerback. They can add a premier talent to a team that already has plenty of it. Yeah. And at the very least, you have to say the Falcons are worth taking seriously, which has not been the case since Matt Ryan and Julio Jones were a hell of a lot younger than they are right now. So, no, it's not this game-changing math. We're not putting the Falcons in the conversation with the Chiefs or the 49ers, but they're in the conversation, which is somewhere they haven't been in a minute, and you know that's been driving Falcons owner Arthur Blank crazy.
You got to spend $180 million to get in the A block of this show.
But you know what's crazy, though?
Honey.
You know what's crazy, too, though? And I respect Raheem Morris, because Raheem, like, if I draft a rookie, who knows how long I'm going to be here?
Good point.
Let me go get somebody that can win me some games. So if I do get in a position, listen, I have won a lot of football games, might not have won in the playoffs a lot. I'll develop this young quarterback when Kirk's time is up. But right now with Kirk Cousins, I have an opportunity to go out here and compete. I know I won this division last year, and we got a chance, is what Raheem Morris is saying right now.
Here's what I love about the Falcons. The cupboard is full. Because in 2021, they used the 4th overall pick to draft Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
Then in 2022, they used the 8th overall pick to draft wide receiver Drake London. Yeah. Then in 2023, they used the 8th overall pick to draft running back Bijan Robinson. So you got your tight end set, your running back set, your wide receiver set. You didn't have a quarterback, but now the quarterback position is set.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.